Hello and welcome back. A bit of a period of time has gone by before the last video. I'm still alive, just had a really bad few weeks, low energy levels, bit depressed, money troubles, the usual life crap. Anyway, enough of that. On bench today we have the old 6146 amplifier after a period of time of just putting the bloody thing away and leaving it well alone. There's still basically one major problem, and that is that the transformer that are wound underneath this one here, which has basically it powers two things. It powers the screen grid supply and the bias supply. Basically it's not up to snuff with the bias supply, because it just can't supply the current. So I've really not been looking forward to taking the bloody thing apart, unwinding the transformer and rewinding it, because I don't believe there's enough room on the bobbin to wind a thicker bias winding, and I can't remember whether I put the bias winding on top of the screen grid winding or underneath the screen grid winding. So I could be looking at unwinding the heater winding, screen grid winding, unwinding the old bloody thing basically. No, I know that's the right thing to do, but no, I just can't be bloody arsed. So I've been looking at what about sticking a little transformer in there so that we can, power the bias. Well, high voltage transformers, but basically I'm after about 70-80 volts. That's what I need, 80 volts at about 100 milliamps. Could I find a transformer? I've got, like a lot of you out there who've got loads of crap lying around, we've got loads of transformers. I found one eventually, which was this one, and this basically did the job. It was all good. It was a bit too high, but that's no good, not a problem, sorry, because I could adjust things. And it also had a 28 volt winding, so that I could put a delayed start in there. That's what that relay is. However, on the bench everything was good, but as soon as I plugged it into the, basically this is powered through a isolated transformer, isolation transformer and variac. As soon as I plugged it into the mains, it blew the house breaker. Why? The reason was because that bias winding, that high voltage winding, had a short to the primary. No good. So recently on forum, on one of the forums that I'm on, somebody was giving away, not giving away, was selling some toroids, some big toroids. I bought some big toroids for future amp projects, and he had a load of smaller transformers, and amongst them was this big blue bugger here, and it has a 55 volt winding on it, as well as two 28 volt windings. So to cut it short, I've wired the 55 volt with one of the 28 volts in series to give me about 70 something odd volts, which gives us at about, when it's powered up and loaded, gives us about minus 70 volts bias. We really need minus 80, but it will do. I know it's not a proper fix, but anyway, we're getting there. So I had to really think today, because I couldn't remember what I'd done. I couldn't remember a lot of the work that I'd done. I thought, what the bloody hell have I done here, etc. And so I pound it up just to have a test. We're still not out of the woods yet with this bugger, by the way. So I powered it up. There's the old scope. Right, we've got a lovely, what do you call it there, sine wave. But when I first powered it up, look at that. Distortion. Right, and that's only at 1.5 volts. Distortion gone. Distortion back. Distortion gone. Distortion back. And this is why we connect our ground to our chassis. All I'm doing there is, you see this jump lead here is connected to basically the ground bus to the chassis, and so that's what happens if I unground the ground bus from the chassis. And so with that grounded, obviously I'd forgotten to put a wire to the chassis, so with that there on one channel, getting good 15 volts, which is about, I can't remember, it's about what we want anyway. I'm struggling to remember a lot of stuff here because it's been a while. So that's on one channel. Where are we? See if I can point you in both directions. Seems to be a bit different. Why aren't we getting... Here we are. Still lots of problems with this amplifier. Nothing, you know, nothing major. 11 volts distortion, 6.6. That's the distortion there. Crazy, eh? Lots of harmonics. Turn that down, and we'll get about 2%. I mean, so these AB2 amplifiers, I mean, we're not talking low distortion. At 2 volts, we've got 1.4 volts RMS. Sorry, 1.4% RMS distortion. At least the thing's sort of working. At least the bias is sort of, you know, sorted. Right, however, we've got all this here, this bloody tone stack to sort out. That's the one of the next big issues to sort out, which I'm not looking forward to. As I was writing on the forum this morning, somebody was on about building a valve tone stack, and I said, Jesus, it's only for masochists, I think, because you've got such high voltage going through. You've got to try and stop it going through these pots. You don't want high voltage on, you know, potentiometers, hence all these frigging caps. But all these frigging caps in here to block DC to the pots and what have you, results in phase shift. Phase shift equals instability, which is what we don't want. Right, I think I've rabbited on enough for now. I seem to be struggling with the English language as well. So yes, work goes on. We will have some more videos, proper videos soon. Come hither with me into the parlour. The 2C34 amplifier is going really well. This has been you know, a kitten compared to that bloody 6146 amplifier. It works really well. It's got a small glitch with one of the HY615s, in that we get a bit of, I think it's a bit of heater cathode short, but it goes off after a bit if you just tap it. This is all working well. As you can see, I painted the chassis and the thingy transformers. Everything's cushy with that one. Just in the process of wiring it all back together. So hopefully we'll have a few more proper videos in future. But for now, take care of yourselves. Ta-da for now.